Grandma Sparky. Halise Bridges is my real name. Halise like Helen Ice, Bridges like a bridge builder. And I am the founder of Blue Ribbons Worldwide. And our mission is uniting humanity through the power of love. And so in our divided American, perhaps the world, our opportunity is how can love bring us together and elevate the human condition with just some simple lessons and tools that we can use. And in a few moments, I'm going to introduce my amazing guest, but let me just say something about our work. Um, we do trainings that actually bring entire cities together now, schools, organizations, businesses, in 60 seconds or less. It all started with the blue ribbon that you can see above. It says, "Who I am makes a difference." It is the vehicle and the tool that really unzips the human condition, brings people together, connects them heart to heart, and advances the human uh, uh, the human soul, that we can connect and see ourselves as let me just say to take ourselves into the present moment where we can see the love, the generosity, and the goodness in all people. So with that said, I want to introduce my amazing friend, my colleague. Steve is ranked on Inc.'s Global Top 50 Leadership and Management Experts list. Steve is a Wall Street Journal and a USA Today best-selling author and is the founder and CEO of the Extreme Leadership Institute. His first book, The Radical Leap, a personal lesson in extreme leadership. He was named one of the 100 best business books of all time. His fourth book, Love is just damn good business. We all love that. Was listed by Book Authority as one of the top business strategy books of 2020. He's the real deal. So Steve, I want to ask you this. Let me start with your music for a moment.
Well, first of all,
Yeah,
thank you, Sparky. It's
welcome.
great. It's great to be here with you.
I received that honestly, and you bring all of us together with your music, but mostly with the language of love that you use. So and let me ask you this, because we're going to talk about how to bring the whole country together, the whole world together, in 60 seconds or less, with just little simple tools that you have and I have. Um, but tell me first of all, what brought you to the language of love for business? When did that all start? And then we'll talk about your music and bring everything together. How's that?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So I've been in this field, and by this field I mean leadership development, culture, organizational development. We call it a lot of things. For it's been 35 years now, and or more.
Yeah.
I haven't
It
done the
says
math
it
on it
says
recently.
50 years on the sheet.
The 50 years I've been playing guitar.
Oh, I got it. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. I started playing guitar when I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14 or something like
Mhm.
that. But the the journey that I've been on in that world has led me to just about every kind of company and every kind of industry
Mhm.
you could think of. So I've had this very broad-based experience, and what you find very quickly
Yeah.
when you have that kind of perspective is that, at least for now, every business has one thing in common, and that is that they're all populated by human beings, at least for now.
At least for now, yes.
Well, certainly 30 some years ago when I started doing this,
Yes.
there was no exception to that. It was way before AI was just something that you read about in a science fiction novel.
Yeah.
Um, but but because that's true. Well, what is it that all human beings really want in their lives? They want love. But yet, somehow, as business people, and
Mhm.
business has been my primary playground in this world, we have been conditioned to believe that love has no place in business, which is patently absurd when you think about it, because what it implies is that we are a different creature
Yes.
when we go to work. Because in every aspect of our lives, we want love. We want to love our kids. We want them to love us. We want to love our significant other or spouse. We want them to love us. We want to love our friends. We want them to love us. We want love in every place in our life. And then we go to work and it no longer applies. It doesn't make any sense. But what I learned early on was that the best leaders that I had encountered, as well as looking at the research by some of my mentors, like Tom Peters and Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner, and real luminaries in the field, that the greatest leaders, love was not foreign to them. In fact, it was really at the core of who they were and how they showed up at work and how they did business. It's just that not many people were talking about it because we were kind of afraid that we'd be written off as soft, squishy, California touchy-feely hoo-ha crap. And the fact is that love is just damn good business.
Business.
Yeah.
You have a saying that says that about love. Say your line that I
Do what you love
do what you love.
in
Yes.
the service of people who love what you do.
Yes.
Do what you love in the service of people who love what you do.
So that gives me the chills of happiness when you say that, because we, like you say, the difference between love, outside of the workplace and within the workplace. And I want to honor that when you come into love is damn good business and really nail it. I think how many years ago did you put that book out? I
So that
was
book
there.
came out in 2019.
2019. So
Yeah.
it's a short time ago, but it was like, let's get this right. And I really respect this, and I just want to say one thing that you remind me of. I was training managers of a Fortune 550 company years ago, and I gave them a blue ribbon, and I said, go out during lunch and honor people. And one of the gentlemen went up and down the elevator the entire lunch hour. He wouldn't go out because he was terrified he'd be rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another gentleman said he went to the woman that when they check into the front desk, he honored her and thanked her for collecting all the coats at Christmas. And she said, I thought you hated me. And he said, no. She said, how do you know I collect coats? He said, everybody knows. She said, nobody ever tells me. And then she said, why do you think I hated you? And he said, because you never smile when you come in. You just want your badge. And
Yeah.
after that, that culture of that company changed. And I think what you're saying, Steve, is that it's easy to love, but it's a difficult conversation because business is not supposed to be touchy-feely as that.
Yeah. It's a great example that you just gave with that guy and the coats and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kind of pause there for a second, because this is really about, and this is why I think the blue ribbon is such a powerful, simple and powerful thing. It's not necessarily, I mean, having the conversation is part of it,
Right.
but it's about what you do, and it's about how you show up. That's where people experience love, is in the smile and the asking, how are you doing? And the just the way that we are with each other. Now, to be clear, the way I love my wife is very different
Yeah.
from the way I love my coworkers, as it should be, right? I mean,
Yes, of course.
so when people get a little, they get a little squirmy about this, it's like, oh, that love thing, you're talking about it's an HR issue just waiting to happen. No, because love, it's a feeling, but it looks different depending on the relationship and the context. So when I smile at you and say I love the work that you're doing with the collecting the coats and giving them away and all that, that is an act of love, because it's coming from a place of appreciation. So really, if we paid more attention to how we show it versus a debate of is it appropriate or not, and what is the definition of love, and what do you mean by it? So people ask me every so often, as you can imagine, Sparky, they'll say, "Well, yeah, love and business. Well, define love. What do you mean by love? What do you mean?" I don't define it, and here's why. Um, if my wife said to me, for example, "Honey, do you love me?"
Mm.
and I said to her, "Define love," it's not going to go well for me, right?
That's perfect.
So it's not about getting into the mechanics or the
Right.
semantics of
Right.
it. You know it when you experience it, and you know the simple things that convey love. So the question that I'm always posing to business people, and I think it applies in any context, not just business, is what should love look like in the way that we do business? What should love look like in the way that we interact with each other? What should love look like in the classroom if I'm a teacher with my kids?
Mm-hmm.
What should love look like with my fellow students if I'm a student in the classroom?
Mm.
It's always asking that question, and and then being willing to do the work to take whatever that action is. And that's, I think, what scares people a lot. So when
Yes.
this guy's riding up and down the elevator,
Right.
you gave him a really simple thing. Give somebody a blue ribbon, tell them to support their dreams. Okay. I know what I have to do, or what my quote unquote assignment is, but now I'm scared to do it because how are people going to respond? They're going to reject me and all. Perfectly natural. I get it. And in business, maybe even it's, the heat has turned up a little bit more because it has been, unfortunately, the exception to the rule, not the way we typically show up for each other. But it just takes a little practice. So with a willingness to do that, it becomes easier, and it becomes a lovely kind of positive feedback loop. Because when you support somebody like that and give support and encouragement to their dreams, it feels good.
Right.
It's like, wow, that I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing how they lit up. And so then it's like, oh, okay, I want to do more. That's human nature, right? I want to do more of what makes me feel good. So I think our job, people that do the kind of work that you and I do, is to get people to understand the value in trying. Because once they start trying it, then it takes on a life of its own.
Then it clicks on, and so what I think you're directing, and I was just thinking about the different people that we interact with. You know, there's a manager, there's the HR people, there's the boss, there's the we got to reach our our limit that we've got to make enough money. Yes, all of that is the stress level that comes into the average company is not about valuing or looking at or telling you what you do right, but it's reminding you what you haven't done enough of yet.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is that both of those have a place.
Yes.
So I need to be able to give feedback to somebody that needs help or is not living up to expectations.
Mhm.
I need to be able to let them know that. I need to be able to have the kind of conversation that enables me to figure out what else I can do to help them to do better.
Yes.
So that has its place, but I think you're absolutely right. We spend most of our conversations not even doing that in a productive way, but by complaining and griping and wagging our fingers at people and in worst case scenario, berating them in a meeting, in public and all that. And we spend way too little time acknowledging people for what they're doing well and what they're doing right, and also acknowledging another one of the things that I love about the blue ribbon is you're acknowledging not just what they're doing well right now, but the things that they aspire to. You're
Yes.
acknowledging where they want to go, what they want to do with their lives. And as leaders and as friends, whatever the context is, the more we can support people to become to achieve and become more of who they want to be, and what they want to do. Uh, all of those things add up, and you know what it translates to in the workplace. This is why love is just damn good business. What it translates to is everything that we want as business people:
Right.
higher productivity, more profitability, better market share, less turnover, on and on and on. That's what it equals. So the other false choice that people often try to make, and it shows up in this question, which I get every so often. Hey, Farber, what's more important, love or profitability in a business?
Mm, mm,
And not to be a smartass or anything, but the answer to that is yes. It's a false choice.
yes.
It's not you're not making a choice between those two things. Love is good business. So you do that, you cultivate the kind of culture that people love being a part of. What happens? They're more committed, they're more creative, they're more productive, they do better work, they take care of their customers better, and that equals profitability. Now you also have to be good at the mechanics and the numbers and the technical and all that. But even just asking the question belies this belief, this cultural belief that we have that
Yes.
says these are mutually exclusive things. It's either going to be, people, or it's going to be, money. And it's like, nah, people are the ones who make the money for you and for us and for each other. So take
Let
care
me
of the people.
let me bring you to something that you're bringing up for me, and I'll just say this: whether we're a child, in school, or growing up in going to college, or into the workplace, or into our family place. I'm bringing up a little girl named Annie, who was 11 years old, actually, and she was moving. Her family was moving from state to state, and she was always getting the principal would read a report that said this girl is, watch out for her because she's rebellious. But Annie, 11 years old, raises her hand in class, and she gets the answer wrong. And the teacher says, "Thank you for asking the question, Annie." She didn't scold her, she didn't make her wrong. And Annie, at the end of the day, and she was doing a blue ribbon project with us, and she ran in at the end of the day when the teacher in service was going on, and she said to her mother, "Wait a second, I got to give my teacher a ribbon." And she ran in and she said, in front of everybody, without being announced, she said, "I want to honor my teacher because you see, I was scared. I'm in a new school and I always get that I can't study right. But my teacher, when I raised my hand, said, she thanked me for trying hard. And I never had a teacher say that. And she gave her a ribbon and left. Changed the culture of a whole company, a school as a result. And what I think what you're saying is when you have a tool that you can offer people in a business situation that they don't have right now, that can infuse them with what they're doing right,
Mhm,
as well as being able to give them the tools to elevate themselves. Yes,
mhm.
because every time you give a 1 minute message, and tell everybody more about your daily messages, so that we can.
Sure. So I've got, if you go to dailyaudioMessage.com,
Mm-hmm.
you can subscribe. It's a, as the name suggests, a daily audio message. Most of them are two-ish minutes,
Right.
um, and they come out Monday through Friday, to your email, and they're just ideas and little vignettes about, what I call extreme leadership. An extreme leader is a person who primarily cultivates love in the way that they work. Um, and I get really great feedback on it, including from you, Sparky. Uh,
It's
so it's really simple, and it's a nice way to
Y you know,
supercharge.
when I save all of them, because a lot of times I don't have the time to listen to them, but all of a sudden, I'll be sitting in my car waiting for something or waiting for a meeting, and I'll put one of them on and I'll go, oh, that's what love is. And because it, we have to have a lot of ways to explain love, because it's just like, how do you explain air? You're just
Right.
breathing. But I also want to bring in something that you are as an artist and a writer of music and a singer and a guitar player, and how that really brings out the notes inside of people, because your music is something that elevates everyone. Talk more about that in business.
Sure. So it goes back to that phrase: "Do what you love in the service of people who love what you do." So for me, when I started playing music, you couldn't stop me.
Mm,
When I learned how to play guitar, you could not stop me from
yes.
playing. Didn't really do much in high school other than play guitar. um, but so I was going to be a musician. That was my aspiration for life.
Yes.
But I got married young, and I had kids young, and I was trying to be a musician, and it turned out that being a musician and feeding people seemed to be mutually exclusive pursuits, at least
Mm,
at least for me. So I gave up the music. Um, Certainly gave it up as a professional aspiration, but I also gave it up for a while, for a few years, because deciding not to pursue it was so painful that I couldn't even play, didn't couldn't pick up a guitar.
mm,
And then I went into business, and I found another path and led me to where I am today. And over the years, I started playing more music. But what's happened over the last several years, um, starting maybe 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I started to integrate music more into my work. And in particular, when I give a keynote speech, if it's the right circumstance and we got enough time, I'll bust out a guitar and play some music for the group. Now, the reason that's important is because a lot of people had something that they used to do. For a lot of them, it was music, but for others, it was other things. Maybe it was art, maybe it was
mm,
writing, maybe it was gardening. I mean, I don't know.
right,
But they gave it up years ago, many of them because they thought, well, I'm never going to be good enough to make money at this. So I'm just not going to do it anymore. So it was like they put it in the category of frivolous,
right,
time waster, and all that, even though they loved it. So I use music, my music, to illustrate to people that you have an obligation to yourself. Whatever it is that you gave up back then, you have an obligation not only to yourself to bring that back for yourself, but you have an obligation to the people that you're leading to bring that back for yourself, because that's where your energy comes from. That's your raw material. That's what
yeah,
fills you up. So you have more to give in the service of other people. So what I've tried to do in my work, and it's been incredibly fulfilling, is to literally integrate the two. So playing music at work and work at music and all that is become, there's less of a line there for me, but it doesn't have to be literal. It doesn't mean that you have to put on a dance recital in the office. I mean, maybe it does, but if you start dancing again
right.
for yourself, that feeling, that energy that you're creating goes with you to work, and it spreads to other people.
Which bring
So
which
that's where it fits into love.
Yes, and where what brings me to my next question is that we're involved with K's Community Alliance for Youth Success, for young people to discover their purpose, to be able to have a way in which, if you grow up and you can speak your passion like you're talking about, and discover a way to integrate that. uh, we've been developing that well, I've been on the committee for 13 years, and you've been on it for many years as well. but and speaking with Stedman, Graham, and Bobby DePorter, the co-founders. So why don't we talk a little bit more about how that Community Alliance for Youth Success and how we can integrate that more with schools so that parents can get behind their kids.
Yes.
Yes,
So
follow?
that's great. So there's a couple of things. If you look at the just the name of the organization, Community Alliance for Youth Success, um, it's powerful because what it's suggesting, the truth that it is suggesting, is that success of our youth is the responsibility of the community
Yes,
as a whole, not just the youth and not just them and their teachers if they're lucky enough to have those great teachers, and not just them and their parents if they're lucky to have great parents, but all of us together. Why can't we all be committed to the success of our youth in our communities? And one of the ways that we can do that is, and one of the ways we do it at K's, is we have this great curriculum called Discover Your Purpose for high school kids. Now, I don't know about you, Sparky, but when I went to high school, I don't remember ever taking a course like that.
that's right.
I don't remember any teacher ever asking me, Stevie, what do you think your purpose in life is? It's like, what the hell are you talking
That's
about?
right.
I thought I discovered it because I learned how to play guitar
Right.
and it
Right.
filled me up. And I learned a lot about myself in that process, which has stayed consistent throughout my whole life. But it was never a priority. I mean, to say it wasn't a priority, it never existed.
That's right.
So with the Discover Your Purpose curriculum, we're giving students a chance to really explore that, which is very different from saying, little Helise, what do you think your purpose in life is?
That's right.
That question is not helpful.
No.
So the curriculum is about taking students through a discovery process where they can answer questions. They're asked questions that they can answer,
Yes.
and that it adds up to, oh, this is my purpose, or what I at least what I believe my purpose is now. Maybe that could change later on,
Excellent.
but what that's going to do is it's going to give me more focus. It's going to help me to, whenever I'm studying any subject, to look at that subject in the context of my purpose. So it's not a foreign thing that I have to
Sure.
do in order to graduate, but I can see the meaning in it, whether it's math or geography or whatever it is. I can see it in the context of my purpose, even though on the surface it may seem to be a very different thing. Um, so, so I think it's a beautiful curriculum. Actually, Candace Fee, one of our dear
Right.
colleagues, developed this. Who's a very accomplished educator, and I would just love to see that in every school on the planet,
Planet.
let
And here
alone the country.
here's what we're talking about. There is not a lot of difference between business and school and education and growing our families. It's all in in how do we develop a safe, supportive, nurturing environment to grow our greatness in. And we're, I talked recently in a school and I said, I understand about reading, writing, arithmetic. It's very important. But without positive relationships, we're always going to walk around thinking we're not enough yet. And you can get straight A's and feel you're not enough yet. It's a common conversation. So let me bring you to this. And I want to say something about our Discover Your Purpose schools. I wanted to mention that, and also our Blue Ribbon Cities project. Okay, how do we integrate that? How do we move that needle forward? And I'm just going to take a moment to honor you and bring all this together in a simple conversation of a blue ribbon, which means first prize, and the gold letters that say who I am makes a difference. It starts out acknowledging myself. It has a cheerleaders in this that is cheering people on for their dreams. So we're talking about dreams, but also it is a conversation piece and a simple tool that takes 60 seconds or less to actually empower another person and connect each other heart to heart. Uh, and so I would like to honor you, Steve Farber. This blue ribbon says, "Who I am makes a difference." Now take a deep breath for myself because I so appreciate you. I want to honor you for how much fun you are. I mean, you are a kick butt. You know, when you play your music and you sing your songs, it's like so much fun. But also you drill down in a couple minutes with your daily messages to how do we take that language of love and know that you know it's a different kind of love whether you're with your wife or your children, but it's not different in the soul to soul. To empower each other's essence is who you be, not what you do. You were born for this, and you were born to teach us that integration of that passion gives us the purpose to live and dream and succeed, just like you have done. Would you accept this gift from me?
Gladly.
May I have permission to place it on you virtually? There it goes.
Permission granted.
I place it above your heart. Let me show everybody how it goes. Weight goes up toward all your greatest dreams coming true. And the tradition is that I take the spark from my heart and put it in the cheerleaders of this ribbon. It is the sound that makes dreams come true. And the sound is and a one and a two and a three. Bing! And every time you hear a bing, you know that a child within us just got our dream because we're all encouraging and supporting and pointing to lifting people up instead of putting them down and honoring what's good about each other instead of finding the faults and failures. Yes. So extreme leadership is what you bring to us. Love is damn good business. And then you're bringing your twisted business into all of us to with your music. So for all of us that are listening, what would you like us to come away with um, as the last conversation that we can integrate into our hearts right now? And we're going to let everybody know how to reach you. It'll be on. We'll probably get this out by the end of this week or next week. So, and I'll send it to everyone. We'll have your contact information and so forth. But you can tell everybody your contact information now, and then and why don't you tell us something that we can leave with? Hmm?
Okay. So you can find me at stevefarber.com. You can subscribe to the audio messages at dailyaudioMessage.com. You
Right.
can also find it at stevefarber.com. The business website for my consulting work and all that is extremeleadership.com. And then, of course, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all that. If you can remember my name,
Right.
you can find me. Google it, you'll find me. And I'd love to hear from folks who are watching this or listening to it. Now, as far as last thought, comes back to do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. I want to break that down and give you something to think about. So there's three parts to that. Doing what you love is the connection of your heart to your work.
Hmm.
Very powerful. It's foundational. It's not the whole story, though. Because if all I'm doing is what I love, and I don't really care about the impact of that on anybody else, that's just another way of saying narcissism, right? So, yes, you want to do what you love, but that's where the second part comes in. Do what you love in the service of people. So, this idea of servant leadership is not new, of course. But I'm doing what I love. I'm using that to serve you, to give great
Hmm.
value to you,
Hmm.
the service of people. So the people you work with, the people you're in community with, the people in your family, the people in your classroom, whatever those people are. If you do what you love in the service of people, the response is reciprocity. In other words, they love you in return.
Hmm.
And when you have, for example, if you're in business, if you have customers that love what you do for them, that's your ideal scenario. You want more of those customers. So doing what you love in the service of people who love what you do is, again, it becomes this wonderful kind of a virtuous cycle,
Yeah.
as opposed to saying, "Prove you love me. Prove that you love me. I'm going to do what I love in the service of you, and the result will be that you love me in return. And if you don't, that's cool. But I'm still gonna pursue that, and that's where I believe all of us should aspire to. How do we get there? Starts with asking a very simple question: why do I love whatever it is I'm doing now? Why do I love this business? Why do I love these people? Why do I love this class? Why do I love this family? Why do I love this community? And how do I show it? Why do I love this? How do I show it?
Right.
Start with that and see where it takes you.
I love you so much. Steve Farber is a man that you deserve to meet, to bring into your organization or wherever you are. Steve Farber, check him out. He's more than just an amazing human spirit. He is an elevator. I see on your shirt that you're wearing 10 years strong, extreme leadership. And we are all grateful to you. God bless you. Talk to you soon, dear.
Thank you, Sparky.
Bye bye.